What's up, team? Chuck with Traders War Room, and I'm back at you with another video list. And I got a question from one of the frontline warriors out there, and they wanted to know how to use charts and indicators. So I broke down just a simple video, and I'm going to give it to you raw dog. Okay, I'm going to use Weibo, and just kind of a overall just covering on what they can do, how you use them. You're really gonna have to dig in, do some research on your own, but I'm gonna give you the basis on how to get started so you can understand what you're doing with them. So let's go ahead and get at it. Traders War Room wants to remind the viewer that all content on this channel are for education and entertainment purposes only. You are responsible for every move you make in the stock market. Have fun, tread cautiously, but definitely go to war and let's get it. All right, so like I told you, I'm going to use Weibo, and I got an arrow right there. This is the market full screen. This is basically where you go to see kind of an overview of what Weibo has. And there's the little search bar. We're going to search a stock. Now, this is a stock that's on our watch list anyways. We're kind of watching this one, so we're going to look it up, SNPX. All right, and it'll take you to the screen, and you guys have seen this before. You got the ticker up there at the top left. You got the price that it closed at, and right there circled is chart. You got news, comments, analysis, company information, and then you got your main chart underneath there, and underneath there you see the big sub with the arrow pointing on. Those are your sub charts. Those are your indicators. Okay, that's kind of what tells you, gives you signals, ideas on when to get in, what's happening with the stock, where's the momentum at, and things of that nature. And that's what we're going to talk about, and then see how we can get some trend lines for chart analysis and TA. All right, so one of the big points too is you got to look at your time frame, right? So notice there we got the 5 minutes. Day traders typically go off of minute, 2 minute, 5 minutes, sometimes the 15-minute chart, right? And then you got your swing traders that are dealing with the days and the weeklies, and then you got your long swings or position players that are looking at it from the weekly, monthly, and quarterly, yearly, okay? And think of it like this, okay? You're looking at from like a satellite view. The further you go out, the yearlies, you're looking at it from like a satellite up in the sky, okay, looking down, right? Then you come in quarterly, maybe that's an airplane, right? Doing some navigation, doing some reconnaissance, okay? Going to your monthlies, that's the drones, all right? We're still looking, we're still researching, doing things like that. We come to our weeklies, that's our binoculars, right? We got the daily, that's our reading glasses. And then we go into our minutes, and that's us with our finger on the book, you know what I'm saying? Going line by line down in our research thing, all right? So if you think of it kind of like that, that's giving your broad spectrum of ideas on how to look at your charts and what type of chart you want to look at depending on your particular type of style that you trade at. If you're a buy it and forget it type of guy, then you really aren't in minute charts, man. You're really more in probably daily, weekly, and looking at it for long term. But if you're one of those that's in and out scalping, and you're like in 1 minute and you want to be clear and profit by the end of the day, then you're more of a day trader, probably looking at the minutes, 5 minutes, and into the 15 and maybe even the 30s. And just like I was showing you right here, day trading, you're usually going to use those top lines right there. Maybe the 4 hours and the 30 minutes, depending on what type of trade you're looking at and what type of momentum you're doing. All right, and look at the bottom. For this, we're going into the 5 minutes, and I kind of blew it out a little bit so you can kind of see the trend. That's our stock pattern, right? So that's the pattern that we're looking at from the 22nd of June until the 26th of June, right? This is the 5 minute pattern that we're looking at. Now we're going out, now we're in the day pattern. Notice how the chart changed, right? We got a wider lens here. You know, we're looking at it from the binoculars or the drone aspect, right? And our chart changes a little bit. Kind of looks like we went from in a downward trend, and now it's looking a little bit bullish, right? On an upswing, because we see a lot of green heading up. That's the difference in the charts. But this is how we make our lines so that we can look for patterns and we can look for channels and things of that nature. And this is blowing it out in weeks. So this is, you can tell this is the relatively new stock there, and there's not much details. We can't go any further out than weeks because this is all the stock that we got. to go off of, and you can't really draw patterns off of this because this doesn't give us much. I mean, we could see kind of what it's doing recently, but this doesn't give us a full bird's eye view and the best bang for our buck so we can make an informed decision. So we got to go a little closer since this doesn't have as much data as like the Apples, the Microsofts, the IBMs, the so on and so forth that have years of data that we can go extremely far back. And I want to go back to this a little quick. So each of those candlesticks that you see, the red and the greens, right? That is the trade price action that happened within that day. So if we look at that one right there that says 1391, that was the high of that day, and you can see all the price action in there from 1391 all the way down to a little bit below 1075. All of the trades during that day were within that range, and that's why you see that particular candlestick there, and it's that way for every day. So if you're looking in a minute chart, that's all the trades that happen within that minute. A weekly chart, all the trades that happen within that week per that candle. Okay, that's important to understand because that gives you your price action during that time frame. And then you're looking at the thick part of the candlestick, right? So you see the thin lines and stuff like that. There wasn't much price action. There might have been a lot of volume, but that's not the bulk of where the price action happened. You're looking at the thick rectangle parts of that. That's where the bulk of the money was spent in trading within that part of the candlestick. So we went back to our 5-minute time frame, and now we're looking at some trend lines, right? We're looking at trend lines, horizontal and vertical. Those are the ones you're going to use the most to get your patterns and see where you're going with it. And so when you click on those, you'll put a whole bunch of patterns out there, and you see that I kind of do it like this. I go out as far as I can, and I got my low level, which is like my bottom level support that it saw, and then my top level is my high point resistance, and I got a bunch of lines of effort inside of there where I got a rule of thumb. It needs to hit that particular spot 2 to 3 times, and I'll put a line because that shows a pattern. It's gone there multiple times and then retracted or even jumped and then came back down. So you just add those in there. And so now you take that information with our charts and you're looking at that, how it correlates to the indicators. And so you see right there on that main screen, we got our indicators. Drop down, it gives us our indicators that we can use, our sub chart and our main chart. And in that circle right there is where we can go in and modify. When we go in and modify, it pulls up these sectors. We got the main chart and the sub chart. The main chart, the ones on top, unless you know, like your main chart on the bottom and your sub charts on top. But most of it just naturally is going to be main chart on top, sub charts on the bottom. All right, and we're going to choose indicator categories, right? And then we have some drop-down menus depending on what we're looking. Are we looking for moving averages, support and resistance, trends, overbought, oversold, market strength, and there's some others. So we pull out moving averages and we see we got boulder bands on main chart. We got Dolce channels. We got envelopes. We got Fabricio lines. We got, clouds, other channels, things of that nature. All those indicators that give us an idea of looking for, volatility and movement. And this one's just showing support and resistance, indicators and trend lines. And then you see that you got some main charts and some sub charts there. And then on the right hand, you see that you can star these. And you notice I got some of these starred, which means they'll pull up on my drop down menu on my main chart that I showed you, because I got them favorite, because they're ones that I use all the time when I'm switching through different charts and things of that nature. And then if we click on one, this is the information that it gives us. It gives us a breakdown on what this does, who created it, when it was created, what it tells us. We can reset our parameters. Up there at the top left, you see you got some numbers. Those are going to be our directional indicator periods, and we can slide it for whatever we want. You got to do some messing around with it to see what works best with your trading style, but it's always going to land on the default of what is the norm, and then you can kind of go from there. So definitely. Oh, and then we got the color thing. So I like to use different colors so that I can cue in, and certain colors match with my trading style. So you got to have colors that match with your trading style. If you see green, and green is a high number, and then you see red, and red is always low, then that's something that you want to kind of go with on your charts and your patterns, so that it cues you in real quick. If it hits to the red line, oh, that's low, maybe it's overbought or oversold. Oh, it just hit green, man, maybe it's just about getting ready to break out. It's to each their own, and you have to find out how it correlates to your trading style. And now we're going back into the chart so you can kind of see it. So we got the EMA you see at the top. That's one of the indicators, right? It's a movement and it has 3 lines. I got an EMA 10, a 20, and a 50. And I got them in, red, amber, red. And then you can see right there on the chart how it correlates to the stock moving on the time frames. At 12 o'clock, the stock was moving inside, touching the 10 EMA, and then it broke out above it, and then it started going back underneath it until it started actually hitting the 50 EMA line. And this is on the 30-minute chart. So look, I know that was down and dirty and real quick, and I just wanted to touch base, hit that up. If you got questions on things that you want answered, or you needed just a little kind of video to get a little hands-on training or ideas for things, then drop me a comment, hit me up on DM on one of the social media platforms, and I'll do my best to get you the answer that you guys need, all right? Remember, at Traders War Room, we look at the stock market like it's a war zone. The stocks and the sectors, those are our battles. We're doing it together. Attack, conquer, and destroy, and we do it as a team. If that sounds good, go in the description. Come and join us on this journey on one of the social media platforms. And if you're ready, follow me and let's go to war.